This lesson will be looking at equivalent fractions, also known as how to simplify fractions. Let's get started with some examples. The first thing we need to remember is that fractions are a description of a quantity of an amount. So for example, if we had our pizza and we cut it into 2 slices, the denominator is the number of slices we cut it into. One of those would be 1/2 or 1/2. But nobody wants to eat half a pizza in one go. So if we cut this into 4 slices and I shaded in the exact same amount, that would give me 2 of a pizza cut into 4 slices. And I can keep going. I could cut this into your standard 8-slice pizza, shade in all of one side, and you'll see that that's the same as 4/8. All of these fractions are equivalent. They mean the same amount. They all mean half of this big pizza here, but they've been cut into different slices. One has been cut into 4, one has been cut into 8, and the first one has been cut into 2. This is the basics of equivalent fractions. And let's see how we can use those. Sometimes we'll be asked to simplify a fraction or write a fraction in its simplest form. And what we need to look for is the highest common factor, or the HCF of both of the numbers. So we want to know what number goes into 5 and 15. You won't need to write this out every time, but we know that the highest common factor is 5, or the factors of 5, are 1 and 5, and the factors of 15 are 1, 3, 5, and 15. So the highest common factor would be 5, and that's what we're going to divide by. We divide the top and the bottom by 5, because remember, we're not changing the size of the pizza, we're changing the number of slices it's been cut into. There's 1 5 in 5, and there are 3 5s in 15. So 5/15 equals 1/3. And that's how we simplify a fraction. Let's try another one. Here we have 2 more examples. We want the biggest number that we can think of that goes into 4 and 12. Now I know it's not the biggest number, but I know that 2 goes into both of these because it's even. So we can start by dividing by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. That's still not in its simplest form. I can still see that 2 goes into each of these. So I'm going to divide by 2 again. 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 6 3 times. I now have a prime number on the bottom, so I know I can't divide any further. So 4/12 in its simplest form is 1/3. If you're observant, you'll have noticed I could have divided by 4 and gone straight from the start to the end. And we can check that because 4 is 2 2s. Have a look at this one underneath, 6/20. Now the highest common factor of 6 and 20 is 2. So I want to divide both of the numbers by 2. I'm going to be left with a 3 on the top and a 10 underneath. And that is my final answer, 3/10. Let's see if you can try some simple ones on your own. Press pause and have a go at these 4 questions. Come back and press play when you're done. These are the highest common factors you should have divided by, and it should have given you 1/3 for number 1, 2/5 for number 2, 1/4 for number 3, and 2/3 for number 4. How did you get on? Let me know. Sometimes we're given the new denominator for which we need to find an equivalent for, and in this case you need to find the multiplier. So what number have I multiplied 4 by to get to 8? I know that 4 times 2 is 8, which means I need to multiply the top number by 2. 1 times 2 is 2, and that would be my answer. On the top right, I know that 2 times 2 is 4. So I multiply the top by 2, and that gives me 2. See if you can fill in the rest of the page. Pause the video, have a go, and come back when you're done. Here are your answers. How did you get on? Let me know. Move on to the next activity.